as a show of hands, it might be a raise hand, or if you can find the hand raising thing tool, it's under the reactions. How many of you ever played in a team of four game at bridge? Anyway, one, two, three,
Oops. Oops.
6, 7. Okay, a few, 8. Ah, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, um, it's my favorite way to play, and one of the fun things about playing in teams of four is that you need is two teams of four, and so whenever I'm playing at home, if I can get together 7 friends to play bridge at home, or if we can get together 3 tables, 12 tables, we we will play team games, and it's very low tech, and it's the best kind of bridge, I think. I want to show you a little bit about playing in teams of four, and I'm going to mute everyone and ask you to unmute if you have a question. Let me do that. Okay, there we go. Um, Playing in teams of four is it's like this. All you need is 2 teams, basically. Here I've got a couple of teams. I've got a pair of tables. Here's the purple team and here's the yellow team, and we're going to play some bridge. Now it does no good to play bridge against your teammates. You have to play against the other team. So if you're at a tournament and you're playing in a team match, then this is how you start out. You meet your teammates at your table, and then when it's game time, we do this. The east-west pairs switch to the other table. So now notice the purple team is playing north-south at one table and east-west at the other table. The yellow team here is playing north-south at table 2 and east-west at table 1. So what you do now is you play the same boards. Typically, if at in a sectional or a regional tournament, what you do now is at the beginning of the match, everyone shuffles the cards, and they deal out the cards and they put them into boards. And let's say boards 1, 2, and 3 are here at table 1, and boards 4, 5, 6 are here at table 2. And you play the boards, and everyone records a score. Everyone at the table records the score at the score sheet, and I'll show you how that works in a moment. And then they have caddies that work for the tournament. And North, when you finished your 3 boards, 1, 2, 3 at this table, 4, 5, 6 at the other table, he'll call out caddy, and they'll hold up the boards, and the caddy will come over and he'll take the boards to the other table and swap them. So here they'll play boards 4, 5, 6, and here they'll play boards 1, 2, and 3. So you play the same 6 boards or 4 boards or 24 boards or however many boards you're playing in the match, and everyone's recording the score. Now at the end of the match, you go back to your teammates and you bring your score sheet with you. So you have your score sheet, and what we do now is the comparison to determine who won. Now this is the purest form of duplicate bridge. We have duplicated the boards. Both teams have played the same hands in different directions. Um, your teammates, I mean, the worst thing that can happen at a team game is that you and your teammates played the same direction at the 2 tables. You've got no match then. Nothing's happened. And so let me give you an example of, let's say we've got a 4 board match. On board 1, no one's vulnerable. We had a contract of 4 spades by North, making 4. So the contract is 420 points for North-South. Now, the purple team at table 1, they're playing north-south, so they record 420 for us. The second board, the east-west pairs, played 2 spades by east, making 2. That was 110 for them, so it was recorded this way. Third board, east and west played 2 no-trump by west, and they made an overtrick. So that was 150 for east-west, so we record 150 for them. And board 4, let's say we got to a four heart contract by south. It went down 1, and we were vulnerable on board 4. So that was 100 points for east-west. This doesn't look too good on the face of it. We got 1 good score, three minus scores. Now, at the same time as we're playing these 4 hands and recording the scores, the east-west pair sitting against us, the yellow team, our friends, the opponents, they're recording the scores as well. And of course, they record 420 for them on board 1 because they were sitting east-west, and the score went for north-south. For East-West, they rescored 110 for us, 150 for us, 100 for us. So their scorecard looks just like our scorecard, but it's upside down. And before I send them off to go meet their opponents, we compare to make sure that they're equal. Of course, you don't have to do any of this online, which is really cool. It's all taken care of automatically. Now, let's go over to the other table and look at these 4 hands and see what happened there. At table 2, the yellow team is sitting north-south. The purple team is sitting east-west. Their teammates are sitting there. And, okay, on board 1, 4 spades by north, making 4. Same result, 420 for north-south. And the second board, they went to 3 hearts by north, making 1, or going down 1. So that was 100 points for east-west. That's interesting. At the other table, they played it in spades east-west, making 2. But this table, they decided they'd take the push and they'd go to the 3, and they went down 1.
Quick question. As you're going over the scoring, do I assume board 1, no one's vulnerable, 2, north-south vulnerable, 3, east-west vulnerable, 4th round, everyone's vulnerable? Is that the way you're looking at vulnerability? Because it's not clear from what you're showing. I just want to check the vulnerability feature on this. Thank you.
For boards 1, 2, 3, and 4, that is the case. The vulnerability is assigned with the board number. There are 16 possible combinations of dealer and vulnerability, and boards 1 through 16 all have assigned vulnerability. For 1, 2, 3, and 4, as it turns out, north-south is nobody's vulnerable. On board 2, north-south is vulnerable. On board 3, east-west is vulnerable. But it goes by the board number, and when you originally create the boards and you shuffle them, hang on a second, let me show you. And you may not get boards 1, 2, 3, and 4. You might get board 10. For instance, let me stop the share for just a moment. If you get board 10, which is what this is, you can see here that this player is the dealer. That's East. East is the dealer. And you can also see that everyone is vulnerable on board 10. There are also red markings, and if it's red, then your side is vulnerable. And in fact, in some boards, they put a little red insert in the board itself, so when you take out the cards, you can see that your side is vulnerable. So that's really handy. So these are, I have a number of students who haven't played with real cards yet, and when I call them boards, I get a little self-conscious. Where does this board thing come from? But this is a bridge board, obviously, because this holds a deal, and I can pass it to another table. So the vulnerability. So if you were playing board 10, everyone would be vulnerable, and you just have to go by that assigning. The interesting thing is that in the entire world, all over the world, if you play board 10, East will be the dealer, and everyone will be vulnerable. And that's that's just exactly how it is. So here we're playing boards 1, 2, 3, and 4, and on board 2, north, south are vulnerable. So when they go down 1, it's 100 points for east, west. Board 3, east and west are vulnerable, and at this table, they bid to 3 no trump, making 3, so they got 600 for east, west. And on board 4, north, south played it in 3 hearts instead of 4 hearts. They didn't go down 1, instead they made 3
Share your
hearts.
screen again, Mojo. We can't.
Oh, of course. I'm sorry.
We're not showing us the boards.
Yeah, I'm not in my. Here you go. So board 2, north, south, went to 3 hearts instead of letting east-west play in 2 spades. They went down 1, and east-west got 100. East-west went to 3 no trump and made the contract. So that's a game contract. Being vulnerable, they get 600 points here. And in board 4, instead of going to 4 hearts, they went to 3 hearts, and they made 3. So they got 140 for north-south. So our purple team, so let's say we're on the purple team at the east-west table. This is how they recorded the scores. 420 for them on board 1, 4 spades by north making. 100 points for us because we set them in 3 hearts. 600 points for us because we made 3 no trump. 140 points for them because they bid 3 hearts, and they made 3. So now what we do is we go back to our teammates and we do the comparison. Here's the table 1 score sheet where we got 420 for us, 110 for them, 150 for them, 100 for them. Table 2, it was 420 for them, 100 for us, 600 for us, and 140 for them. And now what we do is any score that's for us is a plus score. Any score that's for them is a minus score. And what we do is we sum those numbers. We just add them together. Here's the example. Board 1 was plus 420 at table 1 and minus 420 at table 2. What's the sum of those two numbers? It's 0. So this is what we call a push. So this board was played exactly the same result at both tables. Nobody wins any points. On board 2, the score was minus 110 at table 1 and plus 100 at table 2. Now we sum those together, and the sum is minus 10. Oops, let me back up. And the sum is minus 10. On board 3, we got minus 150 at table 1 and plus 600 at table 2. When you add those together, it comes out to plus 450. So that's a good win for us. On table 1, on board 4, we got minus 100. And at table 2, they got minus 140. Well, when you add those two together, it comes to minus 240. So that's bad for us. Now, the raw totals are not what we go by. We actually convert them using another table called IMPS, or International Match Points. And this is part of the IMP scoring table. It actually goes on from here. But when the point difference is 0 to 10, that's no IMPs. So if we look back at the comparison, we can see that the first one, of course, is a push. So there are no IMPs won or lost for that one. The second one was minus 10, and a difference of 10 on the IMP score is also 0 IMPs. So nobody gets any points for a difference of only 10 points on the raw score. Board 3, though, the total is plus 450, so that should be a big win. If we look down here to 450 on the IMP scoring table, that comes out to 10 IMPs. And since this is positive, this is 10 IMPs for our side. Now, looking at table 2, we have minus 140. Minus 240 is the total. If we look at the IMP score, it comes to 6 IMPs. So we lost 6 IMPs on this board with a minus 240 total. So now we add up the IMPs, and we see that in this match, this 4-board match, we won 10 IMPs and we lost 6. So we won the match by 4. So purple team wins. And all of this scoring, by the way, is what's fun is that it's pretty easy to do at home with pencil and paper. But when we play this game on BridgeBase, it does all of that for you. So all of this is done. You get to the end of the match, and you'll see in the score sheet, in the history, how many imps you won or lost in the match. And the imps, then they're converted into a victory point scale. Each side gets some share of 20 victory points. And in a Swiss team match, the way it works is you play one match against another team, and the winning team generally plays another winning team, and the losing team plays another losing team, and you have another match. And we may do that 4 times. If you're doing it at a tournament, you may do that 8 times. You may have a full day event. I don't have a lot of time to talk about how this affects strategy, but I will say that it's important to bid vulnerable games and to not worry about overtricks. Overtricks are not very many imps. Whereas if you're playing in match point bridge, an overtrick might be worth many, many match points. In imp bridge, in team games, an overtrick is maybe 1 imp. So you don't get a lot of reward for bidding overtricks. You do get a lot of reward for bidding and making games. So the idea is to bid and make your contracts. And that's part of the reason why I say this is closer to pure bridge. You're rewarded for bidding and making contracts, for setting the opponents. And those are where you get imps for. So You just play it straight up. You don't have to stretch to get over tricks, and you don't have to do a lot of sacrificing. So teams is my favorite way to play. Teams of four, for one thing, is very social in real life because you get to sit down with teammates and cheer each other on. We can't do that on BBO so much, but we can play team games, and we're going to do that on Sunday. And I hope if you don't have teammates, come as a pair, and we'll find teammates for you and put it all together. So that's my interruption. We'll go back to defense on next Saturday morning. And if you have any questions, I can take them now. Otherwise, we'll go play bridge, 10 o'clock.
Thank you, Mojo.
Thank you, Mojo.
By the way, I have a single player in the newcomer game at 12:20. If anybody wants to come in and play in the newcomers at 12:20, let me know.
Mojo,
Mhm.
are you going to do Swiss teams for under 500?
Yes, Sunday at 12:15.
Okay.
We're gonna have a non-life. We're gonna have two sections on Sunday: non-life master section at 12:15 and open at 12:30.
Thank you.
And this is Stardust Week, so 25% of your points will be gold. And if you win a match at Swiss teams, you get some points. You don't have to win the game; you just have to win one match. That's one. It's often common. It's often happens that every team in the game wins some points. Sometimes maybe all but one, because you're always meeting a team that lost the last match. If you lose a match, one of you is going to win a match. So that's one of the attractions of Swiss teams. Okay, I'll see you all later.
Thanks, Mojo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You.